podcast, Doug.
sir.
What's going on, buddy?
Man, enjoying life here.
I'm coming out hot today, man. Right?
like
Coming out hot today on the bar.
You did. You came out good strong.
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, Doug's only going to come in here one time, man. That's
right.
it. We don't get him one time, right?
That's right.
Nah, we'll get you more than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, thank you for listening into the Bar podcast today. We appreciate it, Doug. We appreciate you being on, man. We've had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit and met you at one of our recent events out at Harley-Davidson of Indianapolis at the Rock and Ride for Hope, and got some common connections. So we're grateful for that, man, and really appreciate you coming in and sharing some stuff with us.
Yeah, well, it was a great time. I mean, the event was one of those things that, I can feel what you guys are doing, and I'm all about supporting that.
Yeah, man, it was fun. It was super successful. I think we had 45 registered riders this year, man. So that was pretty cool.
It's growing.
Had some kick-ass bands playing. Sadie Johnson and Tommy Baldwin, who's been on our show before. LDR Studios rocking all the sound. Clark A's over there, right, buddy? Yeah, right. The master at the volume over there, right? Mike's over there mixing some sound. I love it. But as we normally do before we get going on this, as many of you that have listened, and hopefully many of you anyways, get out there and like us and subscribe to us on all the social media sites. But as we like to do kind of before we get going, we talk about men's mental health specifically, but there's a couple of resources that we always like to share. So I have this on my new technology now that I don't have to rewrite this. Yeah, but if you're struggling, you can text the word refuge to 494949. It's an anonymous text, so if you're out there and you're listening and you don't want to really go talk to anybody, you can text this and have an anonymous conversation, which is pretty cool. So it does work. I've used it myself just to test it, but a really good one there. You can also use the National Suicide Awareness or Suicide Hotline at 988, which they've condensed that, which is great. So that recently happened this year. And then as well, I think I got it back. Good. I was like, holy crap, man. That was almost a fail. That was almost a fail there. Look at that. Yeah. You can text 838-255, and it's the same national hotline as well. And as we always do, we appreciate our veterans. So if you're a veteran and you're listening, we really appreciate all you have done. Can't say thank you enough, but there's an 800 number for you all as well, 1-800-273-8255. So any of those resources are great resources. We like just to call those out on the front end of our podcast, as we always do, because it's important to us to share that. So anyways, but yeah, Doug, man, we appreciate you coming in. Doug Bright from Indianapolis, Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Greatest of all time tees, business owner, AKA all these good things, man. Fitness guru. But yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I think you're from here in Indy, right? Originally.
I am.
So yeah.
I moved to Indy when I was 7.
Okay.
And went through John Strange, Allisonville, Eastwood, North Central. Went down to school in Florida.
Okay.
And enjoyed myself.
Where in Florida?
So I did a co-op with Florida State in Florida.
Yeah, right on.
So I was
That's
in
cool.
their business school, which I guess it helped.
Tallahassee's kind of a fun town.
It definitely was, especially at the time they were number one football. So, Florida is like football state Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I had the opportunity back in the early 90s. I'm not sure when you were down there, but back in the early 90s, I had a friend of mine that was going to grad school there. And he would always invite us down, man. So we'd go down for the Florida State Miami game. And I'm telling you what, man, like that was one of the best experiences that I've certainly ever had at a college campus, I think, just enjoying it. But,
yeah,
there's probably a top 5. That's probably a top 5 rivalry, I would say.
Man, there's a lot of people there. Bobby Bowden, man, the whole deal. And
were you there in that era?
Yeah. So late 90s and in the 2000s. So the year that they went undefeated and won the championship was year that I was down there.
That's so cool.
That's fun.
I don't think you can only imagine every weekend.
Oh yeah, man, it's nuts.
Super Bowl.
And it's a small, it's not, Tallahassee isn't a huge city. I mean, it's not massive by any means, man. But the stadium is it's a big stadium, man. It's impressive for sure.
Well, when you have 70,000 plus college age kids in one small area at the same time.
That's great.
Things get interesting.
I mean, we knew a little bit about some of your background, but I guess I didn't know that you were down at Tallahassee, man. That's awesome. Yeah. So you were you growing up, you went to school here. You said you mentioned you moved here when you were 7.
Yep.
Where were you before Indy?
Originally in Minneapolis.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the Vikings and the Twins were my first teams.
I don't know about the Vikings.
But,
I mean, Fran Tarkenton was pretty cool, but
the only reason he says that is because he's a Green Bay fan.
I'm an owner.
I forgot.
I'm an owner, right? Yeah.
My bad.
It's the only NFL team in the teams that are actually owned by the
I apologize.
people.
I'll refer to you as an owner next time.
Yeah, that's right. Green Bay Packer owner.
My bad.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, man. So when you got back, did you come back to Indy when you graduated and so on?
I came back and when I was about 21, 22, had a child.
Yeah, right on.
Even before I graduated.
Yeah.
So that got me here.
Yeah, I got you.
Here to stay.
Yeah.
So that just kind of changed my life path. With where I was going and what I was doing, and kind of had to change priorities and really just see what was important.
Yeah, man, I get it, right? I mean, life happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, that's one of the things that we do on Building a Refuge, man, is tell real stories. I mean, our mission is one story at a time to create hope, and your story is important, Doug, just like anybody else's. You know what I mean? And it's all helpful, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's why I'm grateful to be able to do this, because we get the opportunity to talk to people, and I think we've met and talked about mental health and what your passion is around it and helping us out, and I think just kind of connecting to it is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in this era right now, there being more of a focus on it, which is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Just because for so many years we've really just kind of ignored it.
Yeah.
And like especially with the vets and military, service people. I mean, they've been ignored.
Yeah.
And just swept under the rug. So now that it is becoming a priority, at all levels and even in schools, I think that's a good thing. And
yeah, we've been doing this now since 2018, and as we kind of mentioned at the front end of the show about Harley Davidson of Indianapolis, they allow us to come out there and host monthly meetings, and it's interesting, man. Erik and I talk about this a lot, and you can share it too, man. I mean, we get there sometimes, and just this past weekend we had a meeting and we're like, man, we were kind of late on the draw and we had a lot going on, and so we were like, man, I hope this thing turns out, and we were blown away again.
Yeah. Every time it's amazing, and it goes back. The exact reason of that is exactly what you said. I mean, people are starting to talk about it more. Guys are feeling a little bit more comfortable with coming out and talking about the struggles that they're having, and hopefully this show does a little bit to aid that, give people confidence, give people hope to that they can see that on the other side.
Yeah.
Because Doug, you and I have talked a few times about some of the struggles and some of the things that you've been through, and talk a little bit about your family, talk a little bit about your parents, your upbringing, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did pretty much have the nuclear, family, mom, dad, they're still married, been married for, 40 plus years.
Way to go, mom and dad.
Yeah,
right.
So,
Give us a little shout out.
As far as, that goes, I think that everything was cool, but, I think now that I'm going through more of a deeper dive into my own, history and past, and really, healing different traumas and those kinds of things. I realized there were still things that were missing from childhood. So both my parents were working. So I grew up very independent.
Yep.
Would go home even as like a second and third grader, would, make my own food.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, it's a learned skill, but you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different, right?
Yeah. Just like I just really had to manage myself, but seeing how that really has manifested itself into, older age and older relationships of, just being like, okay, well, I've been having to take care of myself for.
What was your go-to meal?
I was gonna ask the same question, Clark. I was like, man, what was it?
Because for me, it was lean cuisine.
So I got really good at making these like grilled cheese and like. I don't know if you remember the turkey ham. I don't even know if they make it anymore. Like turkey ham sandwiches and obviously like Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, and, SpaghettiOs in there every once in a while.
Mine was my parents were my mom was an accountant, right? So during busy season, January through like April, man. I mean, to your point, we had to fend on our own, man. So I always tell people like those are skills I learned, like how to cook, how to sew, how to iron, how to wash clothes, all those things, right?
Yeah.
But my go-to was always nachos, man. Definitely nachos for sure, So that's funny. We come home and make them and
like Supreme or just cheese and nachos?
Man, it was just a little bit of cheese and some sour cream maybe. If I could find, something in the fridge to throw on them, I would. I might rip out some burger or something like that, just get fancy. But, pretty much just like Doritos and cheese. That was probably it. Maybe some bean dip. Bean dip was always good, too.
That was always good. But, I mean, with that, I mean, I have an older brother who's 8 years older than me. So, as you can imagine,
just got pounced on all
the older brother.
When you were 10, he was 18. He was
dynamic.
working you over pretty good.
Yeah, from like when we were younger, stealing his G.I. Joes. And, then as we got older, like I was probably 6'2" by 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah,
so
right on.
I was his height, and so I could actually wear his clothes and wear his shoes. So
did you ask when you went to get stuff?
I didn't, absolutely not.
No.
And so there were a lot of
disagreements.
Yes,
agree to disagree.
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah.
So it's just you and your brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But we do have an adopted sister, foster sister, who is 8 years older than my brother. So she and I are 16 years apart. And
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen my parents like really embrace people that don't have as much, and really try and bring them in. So that's part of I think my DNA when it comes to wanting to help people and really just
that's awesome.
Like I mean, I have way more than I need. Yeah. So if I can.
Now, are they in town? Do they live here in Indy?
Yeah.
Or are they okay?
Yeah, same house we lived in. And I live 2 streets away from them.
Yeah.
So,
is your brother around here as well?
He's out in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
So
cool.
Out in
but your sister's here.
She, honestly, I don't even know where she is right now.
I got you.
So like she was one of the people that probably could have used something like this.
Yeah.
A lot of mental health issues that haven't really translated as well to getting.
I mean, it's real,
help.
Doug. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing with families, man. I mean, families go through stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not a family I think that's out there that's insulated to just, I don't even know what the right word for it is, like some perfect balanced life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are out there and that's what you got, that's fantastic. But I mean, I think in general, you're going to go through it, right? I mean, it is what it is. And I think that's another thing that we try to face head on, man, is that that's why we do this, right?
Is that a struggle for your family? Like that issue, or is that kind of?
No, I mean, she was already, by the time we moved here, she was already, I was 8, so she was 24.
Okay.
So kind of already on her own, had
Gotcha.
a kid or two, so she was grown, and, my parents at that point let her kind of just do, what she needed to do with her life. And, over the years, my brother and I, our relationship, as we got older, has gotten, much tighter.
Sure.
Just because, you get
mended
older.
some fences.
Right.
It happens, man.
So did you grow up playing sports?
I did. I have played pretty much everything from basketball, track, soccer for a very long time. Played for Dynamo.
Okay.
Football. I was on the swim teams. And, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that's fun, man. That's good. Like sports back in, because did you play in college as well or no?
No.
Okay.
I actually fractured my back. I had a double stress fracture.
Okay.
In between my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
And so, fortunately, I had grades enough to still be able to get some academic scholarships. But,
how'd you fracture? Like, what happened?
I think it was just years of just wear and tear. Year-round sports from time I was about 5 years old.
Yeah. Just, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that lightly, but it sucks, right? I mean, but it's interesting, like we've had guests on here before that, have competed in collegiate sports or what have you. And hell, I mean, even our friend Dale, right? I mean, he went and played semi-pro ball or pro football over in England for a while, right? And we talked a lot about even the pressures of that, and even today for younger kids, man, that are competing. I mean, heck, we're getting ready to walk into football season here pretty soon, not too far down the road.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of these kids, man, they feel that pressure, especially if you get injured, and it's a passion and you love it, and that weighs on them pretty heavy, man. So.
Well, so my son is he plays for Purdue. He plays football for Purdue. And
what's your son's name?
Maddox.
Yeah.
Right on.
And he's a wide receiver. And in high school, he actually had 2 of his seasons ended by knee injuries.
Yeah.
And so the first one was his sophomore year, MCL, out for good period of time. His junior year, he was in semi-state, and they, just bad play. Should have already been out of it and took his knee out, and he was done. And the one that happened in football, I went down on the field, and this is not even 5 minutes after his injury, and I told him, I said, your healing starts right now.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to start in your mind. And if you let yourself, feel sorry for yourself and get down, like your recovery is only, just going to be extended. So like you just have to be in that mentality that I know I'm going to get back. I know I'm going to be just as strong, if not stronger. And we're going to, be good.
I love that because you immediately shifted his mindset.
Yeah.
Because how easy is that when we have injuries like that to go into a woe is me type of mindset? How could this happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
But in that instant, you changed his mindset. Because I know you're big on mindset.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's how we linked up.
That's right.
It was, what was that, April, right around Easter. I made a post on social media, just kind of, letting some things go.
Yeah.
And, just being vulnerable and saying, you know what, I've struggled myself, and I'm sure that most people look at my life as being, especially because there was a very cultivated, image of, what my life was like, from a previous relationship. That it did look like it was all, fun and games and rainbows and cupcakes, And, it just got to a point for me that I needed to let go. And writing is one of the things that I really enjoy. That,
right on.
Is my release. And so, our mutual friend, Dale, was like, hey, you really need to meet these guys. And, it's really knowing that this is an available resource for people makes me more excited to continue the things that I'm doing with the reels and the videos, and just kind of being motivational. And a lot of the things that I post are for myself, really, to just be a reminder to myself. It's like, when you look back here next year, just look at how far you've come, and it's like you didn't do it all on your own, but you certainly had to do a lot of the work.
Yeah. So what led up to that mind shift? Give us a time frame. Like, how old were you? What were you going through, and what just frame it for us?
So I've been kind of on, the secret and, law of attraction, some of those kind of things for a while, since, college. And even in high school, and this may have been when my back was fractured, my junior year, I was high jumping, and my highest jump ever was like 7.2.
Okay.
I was still wasn't the record.
Mine's like 4.2.
One of my teammates was just a little bit higher, but I had 2 jumps left. My mom was there on the sideline somehow, and she, just like, okay, like, this is your you're jump to either do it or not.
Yeah.
And I mean, my back, by the time the track season was over, like I couldn't even walk. Like I couldn't even get out of bed for about horrible. 2 weeks. And, it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep fighting through it and, just do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was in the training room probably 80% of practice, just getting electrotherapy, and
therapy and so on,
icing and doing all that kind of stuff. But my first attempt, I actually hit my head on the stanchion on the bar. The bars sit up on. So bar fell over. Second one, I cleared it, and it was just I don't even know really what it was. It was just something where I just something clicked, and I'm like, yeah, I'm capable of doing this.
Yeah, right on.
And there's no amount of pain or anything that's gonna keep me from doing this. And if this is the last jump that I have, I'm gonna make it count.
Yeah.
And just through life, I've had number of people really close to me die within sometimes minutes of me seeing them. And I think probably one of the earliest experiences like that was 7th grade. After basketball practice, one of my friends got on the bus. He lives maybe 5 minutes away from the school, and getting off the bus got hit and killed by a drunk driver.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So, as a 7th grader, you're talking to a kid, and 5 minutes later, he's dead.
Was there? I mean, thanks for sharing that, man. I mean, was there, like after that happened? I mean, were there things that support that you had like after that, or was it like?
No.
I mean, because and here's the thing: I'm not being critical of it by any means, right? Like that's not the point of it. I'm asking just because of standpoint. I think it's to show kind of the progress as a whole.
Yeah.
You talked about a little bit earlier, right? As a progress a whole that we've made in terms of just like asking, like, hey, man, like what? How are you feeling? Like what's going on? Because we've learned a lot, I think, as a society, and we're still in the infancy stages, as I think, around this, but we've learned a lot, man, around like PTSD. I always used to associate PTSD with like veterans and combat and that kind of thing. But what you experienced and seeing that and going through that, man, there's no doubt in my mind that was a part of what happened. You know what I mean? Like that happens for sure.
100%. I mean, like at the time, you got to think this is early 90s. I mean, they're like, okay, we have the counselors at school, but aside from
I don't even know if they know how to deal with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like really?
Right. So I mean, there wasn't really any kind of thing. So it was just.
What was your buddy's name?
Nick,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's
Nick Malloy.
That's hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. We've had a guest on here before, man, and he's a family member of mine, a nephew of mine, and thankfully, he's a young guy and he's been open to come on here, but they went through similar, him and his buddies, man. They were all at a lake and, boating and so on, and an accident happened, man, and they lost one of their great friends, man, right in front of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, that's something to process.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Well, and if you don't get an opportunity to process it just festers.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure you saw that.
Yeah. I mean, so before I made the post, Easter, both my aunt and uncle died within a month of each other.
Yeah.
People who were never blood relatives, but they're just as much family as, anybody possibly could be.
It gives you a different perspective, does it not?
Yeah. And so I was with my aunt all the days up to her passing, but like 2 or 3 days before she passed, I sat with her, and it was her last day of like real lucidity, and just the conversation that we were able to have was I mean, I feel bad for the people that weren't able to
talk with her,
have that, you know, just because, you know, it's just so special to have those moments, especially as somebody as they know that they're dying, like, and they're just, it's so raw and honest
and real, like it's real.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like really nothing but love. And I mean, throughout life, that's who she was. And it was just a really pivotal moment for me. And we just had to.
Yeah, that's great, man.
I had a moment.
I mean, I can feel you, like I can feel on you, man, like just the blessing, you know what I mean, that you have in terms of like what you got to experience, you know what I mean, in that moment and in that time. And I think that is, you know, that's a mindset too, right? I mean, it's a mindset too, because you can go one of two ways, right? You can be angry about it and be like, man, why am I here going through this right now? Or you can look at it as, hey, man, I'm blessed, you know what I mean, to sit here and you see that that love, and I think just that affection around it, even though it's a rough time, man. I mean, we've shared a lot of this, right, Clark? I mean, you shared with us not long ago, man, that you lost your dad, you lost a lot of people in a short period of time, man, and it's real. You know what I mean? It's one of the big things that changed my mindset greatly, you know, going through what I mean, we lost, my wife and I, between my, you know, losing my brother to suicide. And not only that, but losing other family friends, like you just mentioned, they're not blood relatives, but they're closest family as anybody else. We lost 6 people, including, you know, her dad as well, in like a year. And man, it changes your perspective of things. It definitely has me. I mean, I'm also very grateful that I've been around a community like this, and I've been blessed to find Clark and all this team and, you know, everybody that we've been able to kind of organically grow Building a Refuge through. But it's this right here, man. I mean, this is what's made it happen, is just creating an environment, man, that's not intimidating, that's where people can be like, hey, if you want to share something cool, and if you don't, it's okay too. Like, just come and hang out, meet some people, you know? I mean, that's what we try to do at Building a Refuge.
Well, you know, it's like one of the things that happens with a lot of people is that self-isolation. Yeah. Right? And, you know, that can be both it's a double-edged sword. Oh, yeah. Because you need to have time to, you know, just kind of be in your thoughts and grieve and, you know, really feel everything. But at the same time, it can go so far to where then you start to lose being able to connect with people, which ultimately is what we are here on the planet for. That's right. Is to be social, to be with people, to, you know.
Clark, didn't you mention that it's community, right, buddy?
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean,
so when you lost those people in your life, like did you isolated?
This last time, because I was also going through a breakup, and it was a lot all at the same time. So I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna put myself on a timeout.
Yeah. Dude, so I'm not here's the deal, I'm not laughing, but you know, similar to that, like when I went through what I went through, I mean, you don't know how many times I told my wife, man, I just need a time out of life right now. Like, I just need a time out. I just need quiet. I just need time. I need time out. You know what I mean?
So when you were going through that, like, what were the things that were going through your head? Like, because a lot of times, you know, we have guys in that chair that talk about isolation, and they justify it. You know, they justify why they're doing it. They're justifying what they're going through and all that stuff. But like, what was running through your head, you know, at that time?
I mean, with the combination of things going on, there's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of you know, where am I going? Here. Like, what am I supposed to be doing with my time here? And
was career good at that time?
It wasn't as good as it is now. And, you know,
so you had career, you had career, you had breakup, and you had loss.
Yeah.
All in one thing.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, everything was just all at once, right? And so
makes it hard to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And then the next day you feel like just staying in bed again.
Yep.
It can become perpetual, and you got to put your feet on the floor every day.
100%. And it becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy to when you're in that state of mind. Yeah. And I mean, for me, it was just kind of like, okay, I have way too many gifts and talents and people that love me to be sitting here, not doing anything.
Yeah.
And even though that kind of mental shift click, actually building up to being able to get out of it has still been a
climb,
months long process. And one of the things was getting back in the gym. I gained a bunch of weight, and I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be slim and sexy, and why am I not being
slim and sexy? Clark, you know I'm being slim and sexy, don't you?
I know you're working on it every day.
That's right.
So it's just like that the physical part and the physical fitness, really, I mean, there are all kinds of studies on how
absolutely.
moving your body and the endorphins, like it essentially helps you fight off depression.
Yeah, man. And you're in your own mind, man.
Right.
I mean, it's food for the brain. You know what I mean? Like, doing anything like that is just, I don't know, man. I mean, I just, it cuts me out of everything. You know what I mean? For like an hour or 2 hours or whatever,
Well, it's important what you said, and I don't want to jump over it. You made a decision, but you're still going through the process right now.
Right.
This many months later.
Right.
And so that's important for guys to hear out there. Like, a lot of times you want that quick fix. You want that, instant gratification. You want that magic pill. And there just ain't one.
No.
Right.
Like, there just is not one. No. And you're right now, we were fortunate to meet you at a time where, you have made that switch. Prior to that, we didn't know you. And now we know you've got that mindset shift. You've got a purpose. Sounds like you found a purpose.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about that purpose. Let's talk about what you think that you're made to do now.
Well, so I mean, throughout my life, and I guess when I said helping people is part of my DNA. My father was the youth programs director for Lilly Endowment for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So funding different nonprofit organizations, the Children's Museum, Boys and Girls Clubs, everything that has to do with kids.
Yeah.
So being able to see how nonprofits need help.
Yep.
And also,
I want to plug it right now, or I plug it at the end of this, man. But if we need your, but we do. You're right. I mean, like anything else. I mean, it's because it's organically, man. I mean, this isn't like we just sit on a pile of money and we can just do this. Like LDR Studios, they donate their time, man. I mean, they're gracious to do this because they see it, and Clark sees it, right? I mean, Clark, he's a prime example of helping us out. But yeah.
And it's like just being involved with being able to help other people lift themselves up. And that takes a lot of different forms, and really has manifested itself in different ways for me through career. I have a marketing business, so I'm help people build their businesses, really. Because I know what that can do for a person. And really just when you're running your own thing, even if you're just starting it, there's like just something in you that like I'm sure you guys felt it when you like first started going.
I mean,
it's
look,
like
I struggle. That's one of the things I struggle with all the time. I mean, I'm blessed. I work for a great company, and they treat me well, and it's fantastic, man. But I had a taste of running my own business for about 5 years back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it failed, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody it didn't fail, because it did. But the learning opportunity and what I got from it, but being a part of it just in general, I was just really young, man. I mean, I was 27 years old when this happened, right? Thankfully, my stepfather was a part of this and kind of guided it the way that it was going to go. But if I had the opportunity to do this, and I know, like if I'd have known then what I know now, or the opposite or whatever, man, I think it would have probably went a little bit differently, because I just didn't know, you know, I mean, I was pretty naive to the whole ownership side of a business, you know what I mean? But
yeah, I think
no doubt
the key to that is, again, I keep going back to that word mindset. Like when you're starting something new, or you feel like that might be your purpose, you know what I mean? Like that's the exciting piece of it.
Yeah.
And that,
absolutely.
like you're painting a really great picture for us in regards to building those tools to be able to help with your mental health. Cause you talked about the gym, you talked about starting something and finding your purpose. You know, you've talked about a lot of those things. You know, you talked about therapy, you've talked about all that stuff. And so we're just one by one going through this, and I love it. And I want to make sure that guys understand and see that, who are out there listening, because like sometimes, you know, for me and maybe for Brandon, but like you don't realize when you're in it that you're actually doing what you're doing. You know, like I get the idea of the endorphins in the gym and all that stuff, but you don't initially realize that. Right. I mean, but then over time, once you've built a routine, once you've done the things that you're doing right now, you've changed that mindset. Once you've done that, change happens. And I can see it in you. Like it's real. It's palpable.
It's funny, like seeing the people that I haven't seen for a few months. You know, when they see me now, they're like, damn, like
something's different.
Yeah. I mean, I ran into a guy the other day. He's like, "Man, you look taller." I'm already 6'4", right? So, you know, I'm like, for me to be looking much taller, you know, it's kind of a
must be the shoes, right? Must be the shoes,
right? Something like that. But yeah, I mean, so like the other day, I had an experience with somebody who is starting their business. And on the phone, we're going through designing logo, and you know, I'm like, okay, this would be cool on, you know, your t-shirts and you know, all this stuff. And they got really quiet for a minute, and I was like, what's the matter? What's going on? And I said, you know, I just had a moment that this became real for me. And like now I can see, you know, all the things, you know, about this business and all the possibilities, and it like almost brought me to tears, you know, because I'm like,
you were a part of it.
That's good.
It's like that's the kind of gift that you really can't give to. There's no price tag on that kind of gift for making something that somebody has in their head, making it real and making it come to life.
That's a gift, because like a lot of times we talk about on here, just to the nature of what our podcast is, it's one story at a time. Like we talk about when we see change in guys, like when you see that, you know, that shift, you know, and you're doing it in a business role, and that's and you're doing it in your personal life too. I know that. I've heard that, but like when you can see that in a business side of things too, that's even more, not more important, but equally as important. You know, because that's for men. We all know men, you know, they need that. You know, we need that in our world, and so it's really cool to see that you're a part of that, for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, Doug. So as we like to do, we like to help out too, right, man? And greatest of all tees, right? You do a little bit more than that.
Wearing some swag.
I love this hat, man. He said
Clark,
I could take it home.
Clark,
man.
get a zoom in on that bad boy. Can you do that?
Somebody want to zoom in on it? I love this hat, man. So.
Sweet.
And you're gonna help us out. We're kind of fashioning some of this today on this thing, right? Because we're gonna get some of these babies, right?
There'll be some rollout coming soon.
Yeah. But more importantly, talk to us a little bit about that, man, because you've shared with us, right, a little bit about what the business is and what you're doing and striving for. But I know you're doing more than the greatest of all tees as well, man. I mean, you got your hands in a few different things. So share with us a little bit about, what the business is and what you're doing. And because we love to promote it, man.
Well, it's the greatest of all tees.
Motivation, perseverance. Dedication, discipline, mindset, sacrifice, passion.
Mindset.
So this was one of the shirts I actually made for myself.
Yeah.
That was part of my healing process. And so, I would wear this to the gym, and, when I'm looking in the mirror, seeing this, I'm like, okay, this is
it.
Yeah. This is where I am in life. And when we originally met, I'm like, you know what? There's probably some, words and phrases that would work for you all too.
Sure.
And so greatest of all tees is, originally started off as more of a sports, sports minded.
I've seen some pretty cool. They're fun, man.
Yeah, I like them. I like them. People like them. Like,
I did see a lot of Michigan stuff.
Yeah.
Though,
all right. So
I didn't see any Notre Dame.
Yeah.
stuff,
Well. So okay. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah.
So
we definitely didn't see Wisconsin up there.
Yeah. They might not be on there.
Yeah.
But just through that and seeing the way that people responded to it and wanting to do something, that can help people besides wearing like a really comfortable and cool t-shirt.
Right.
I'm like, okay, how can we help out, different organizations and businesses, and how do we get back to this? So, one of the programs that we've been creating is a partnership program for nonprofits.
Yeah.
So, like you all will have your
it'll be out there for those for listening, man. We'll have a merch. We're gonna have a merch link on our website. So
and so we'll do revenue share with the nonprofits, and really just a way for us to be able to spread awareness to what they are doing, and obviously there's some cross promotion, but really it's just a way for us to give back and get people involved. And I think one of the kind of powerful things about these shirts, especially ones with the mindset types of phrases, and there's a whole series of just it's called the Mindset series. So it's like for one of them for running, it's like start and stride and pace. And, it's like you gotta
finish.
Finish. And PR. So it's like just getting into that kind of mindset. I think for you all with the healing and finding hope, that there's a lot of people that can relate to that. And it's really something that I know I'm going to be wearing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, like, look, man, we're just grateful, you know what I mean? And again, you mentioned Dale up front. Dale Speckman is a great friend of ours, great friend of yours, and Dale's like-minded, man. He's not shy about telling you where his strength come from, you know what I mean? And just getting hooked up with you even the day of that event, I could feel it on you, like where you come from and what you want to do and how you like helping and, and all of that. And then just plugging in what you do. Man, Erik and I get smoked by just being here, you know what I mean? I could tell Clark's story, man, but we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Clark and his team. But then we recognize the fact that we wouldn't have met Clark if we weren't doing what we're doing either. You know what I mean? And it takes a community, and that's what we want to build. I was asking Clark just a minute ago about community, man. Community is so important, and
it's everything.
Yeah.
It's your community.
Yeah,
brings hope to your, when you're down and all.
Yeah, you talked a lot about, when we had the opportunity to share your story, Clark, you talked a lot about your, the jet skiing community that you were a part of. And, one of the communities that Clark and I share that's kind of fun too is the Grateful Dead community, man. But it's a community. I just watched a special on Bob Weir. It was Jerry Garcia's birthday recently. And so I watched this special, and that's what they talked about. Was the biggest part of even what they saw in the crowds and in what they saw in their fans is that one day they woke up and they were like, oh wow, we're seeing the same people, and back in the day, that's exactly what it was, man. it was a community of people and community of friends. Right. And that, I don't know. I hear that a lot in what we do, and how men in general, because look, we're not easy to just let it out, right? We're just not. It just is what it is, right? And I think in an environment like this where we can create a community, we hope that it is a little bit easier in due time. We're never going to push anybody, right? But
yeah. I mean, with the with regards to the community part, I mean, throughout history, men have been programmed through,
conditioning.
I mean, just from our actual DNA, physiologically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
To be their protectors, be the providers, be all that. We live in a much more complex world where we're not just protecting our families from saber-toothed tigers.
That's exactly right.
Those kinds of things,
Yeah.
So, it's much more of I want to say an assault on people's mental health, especially since social media came along. I feel like that is kind of really where we made a huge cultural shift as
but we didn't see it at the time.
Right.
Everybody,
no,
every time when it when it came out, we thought, oh man, this is the greatest thing ever.
It started off with great intentions and it was pure, and it was MySpace and sharing and all that kind of stuff, and then it became okay, let me one up you, and I'm awesome, and I'm taking this vacation, and my life's so cool, and whatever, and it's like okay, but having the community, especially in real life, where you can reach out, touch somebody, get a hug, get a handshake, whatever, that makes such a difference in somebody's life. Like, it's the digital connection's great, like I've got thousands of
friends, whatever,
acquaintances, I've got a handful of friends, I got you, like people that I actually meet up with and will go hang out with. And oddly enough, through this kind of transformation and transition, I've reconnected with a lot of people from high school and college, and just people that I haven't seen before, one because I have more time to do it, but also just because they've reached out from, posts that I've made and things, and are like, what you said, like really, just really touched me and, helped me get through. Just conversation starts. And I had a friend that had quit her job, and she was just like, well, can we have lunch? And I want to see, just kind of your thoughts on what I should do. And my initial thought was like, it should probably be like a psychiatrist or a social worker. And when we left that lunch, she's like, no, I don't want to go back to school. Like, I'm not trying to go in debt to that. I'm like, understandable. Why don't you think about being a life coach?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Like, like stuff like that. I said, if you want to do the certification, I'll do the online thing with you to, just support you. And, eventually maybe I want to be a motivational speaker. I think probably being a certified life coach would help that. But few weeks, fast forward a few weeks later, she calls me and says, okay, well, I decided to go back to school.
That's cool.
Get it. And it was like,
well, good.
Like, I knew you were going to figure it out and, do whatever you need to do. And I'm not here to say you should do one thing or another. Like, just do what you feel like works for you and play it out, and, just keep going.
It's nice to be able to flesh out your ideas with friends, though, every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially people you respect and that have your best interest.
Yeah, you trust them.
It's like, it's one thing to get advice from somebody who's like, just, they're negative and they're going to be a hater. And I mean, starting a new business, especially a clothing line. I mean, some of my best friends were the biggest haters in the world. Oh, you can't do that. Like, I'm not supporting that. And I'm like, you know what? Like, that's cool.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
Like, I'm still do it.
Still do it. Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those things that is real. It has a lot of legs to it, and
Well, you got one of the words on your shirt, man. It's passion, right? I mean, that's just what it is. And I think, as you kind of talked about earlier, man, I mean, your passion. I do want to go back to that, though, because I want to make sure that we make this point, too. That time in your life, man, when you said, hey, look, I need a time out and I need some alone time, it's okay. Yeah. For everybody listening out there, you know what I mean? I want to make sure everybody understands, it's okay to have a shitty day. It's okay to have a shitty week.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to do that because you mentioned this, man, there is a benefit to that. I think there is. There's a benefit to that, right? That you just need some of that quiet time on your own, man. It's okay to inward self-reflect. But I would say from an encouragement perspective, make sure you're around some people too. You know what I mean? And you mentioned it, and it just made me think about that. Being around somebody, and Clark, you just said it too, being around a friend that you can trust and you can lean on and you can, express. It's hard, man. It is hard to just let yourself be vulnerable. And I can tell you this much. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but when I've allowed myself to do that, you get it back tenfold. What you get back is just humbling.
Well, the thing about vulnerability is most people think that or look at it as something that makes you weak.
Yeah.
When in reality, being able to be vulnerable is probably one of the most courageous and strong things that you can do because you're like, look, world, here I am, take your shots and judge me and do whatever, but I'm just here as I am, as my authentic self,
I mean, and you wish that guys who are struggling with that piece, that vulnerability piece, could see what you see, right? Because when you offer that up and you put that out to the world or to a single person, whoever that may be, you can't even really express it in words what that does for you. You know, you personally, getting that off your shoulders, getting it away from you in order to just, and again, like Clark mentioned, having people give you ideas and get, and help, and then that starts to build a community. But for a guy who, who's maybe listening right now,
that's right,
who is questioning, hey, should I tell this person this or this person that? You've expressed already today, not only the opportunity that you had to be vulnerable, but for people to be vulnerable to you and what you got from that. And it's like that word vulnerability, you're right. It has a perception of being weak, and it has a perception. It's just it's one of those words that in our society these days.
Well, it's not going to feel good, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's one of those words that are it's just one of those words.
But even going through it,
it's your authentic self.
Right.
But even going through it, it's not going to feel. I mean, it's going to be scary as shit. It's not going to be easy. You know what I mean? It's just for people that listen to this, right? I mean, I don't want to send a different message out there. Oh yeah, just be vulnerable, right? No, it's going to fucking suck.
Well, and that's
just
what
going
to
suck.
Yeah, that's what that's what Doug said. He's like, take your shot. I'm ready. I'm ready for your shot. And there's some people. The part of the reason they don't want to be vulnerable is because they're not ready for that.
Yeah, and that's okay too.
And that is absolutely okay.
100%. And I just don't feel like I have a choice at this point to be anything else because I spent long enough not being 100%, who I am, and really trying to play a character and fit into other people's expectations and ideas of who I should be, and I'm like, you know what, I'm actually pretty damn cool, on my own. I got a lot to offer the world. It's
absolutely.
I'm not a one-dimensional kind of guy. I'm into a lot of different things, a lot of different interests, and music and writing and just cultural kinds of things, and just man, I'm okay with being myself. I'm actually happy to be myself.
That's awesome.
And,
man.
There was a time when obviously with relationships, and especially younger age, especially right now, this kind of era, I tell girls, I'm like, look, there are guys with a lot more money than me out there that would rather be me.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I have that they'll never be able to buy. So It's like, it's like you can always make more money. You can't make more me.
Well, I mean, and that is, here you're right, man. I mean, and I love that mindset, because it's not like you're just going, well, the hell with everybody else, but we kind of are saying that, right? Because you're important to yourself, and that's I think the mindset that I think is hugely helpful for guys that go through stuff. And I would say, women as well, right? I mean, we are very focused on men. That's what we do. But I think that men and women go through this, right? But I think when you can love yourself, not in a way that seems conceited or anything like that, you just genuinely love yourself, man, then watch out, right? You're ready for the world. Like you just said, man, I'm ready to take on anything.
Live the life you love the life you live.
Yeah, Clark A's over there, buddy. I love it.
I'm still over.
I know. I see you over there. I see you.
I was gonna say what you just said of loving yourself, like those two words are probably the biggest keys in the healing process and the transformation process. Is they say people love to the level that they love themselves, right? So how can you give other people something that you're not even giving yourself? And it's like, once I kind of got that, I'm like, man, I'm giving, and I'm like, there's nothing left for myself,
right?
So let me pour into myself so I can be
so you can do what you intended.
So then I can have that extra energy to give to others, in a more meaningful awesome. substantial
you're authentic, and you're giving your authentic self. That's what you've recognized, like, hey man, I'm a value to somebody, or I will be a value. I'm going to give my authentic self. And I love the fact that, like, you're authentic not only to yourself but to others as well. Like, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, it's cool. I ain't mad at you. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
So Doug, I don't know if we ever, and you might have said it, but we never really gave a timeline. So when you were going through your really dark stuff till today, what time period are we talking about?
Now probably about 5-6 months.
Okay, so it's pretty fresh.
Yeah,
it's real fresh. Yeah, it's real fresh.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like, that's not. I mean, I just think it's fantastic, man, that like we get to hear it. I mean,
in the world, we're really seeing it
in the world,
like in real time.
Yeah, man. I mean, but that's what's great about this. I mean, and again, we take a step back sometimes, man, because we realize, like, I mean, there's bigger things going on and how we get aligned, right? And
that's that's one of my favorite questions to ask, is that time period, because everybody's different. Everybody's different in how long it's going to take, how long it's going to manifest, how long until that heart change happens. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own time frame, and it's okay however long it takes.
That's right.
And hopefully when you have started to build that community around, like you have, like we have, and we're starting to build our own community together, which is freaking awesome. We're going to run along our own timeline, separate from everybody else, and so we just have to know and have to rest in the fact that that's okay. Your 6 months, mine was 5 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, who knows?
If I were to say anything to the guys that are listening, is whatever time you think it's going to take, double or triple it. At least. If you want to be honest,
just
with
don't put a time limit on it, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the first 2 months, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be cool and be back in the game, and just everything's gonna be awesome. And I'm like, damn, even today, I'm like, I mean, just a few days ago, had an off day. However, that being said, those off days, they don't last as long.
They're as important
anymore. They don't last as long. So now it's like, all right,
because you have got the tools to combat that. Right. You've got the community. You've got the mindfulness. You've got the things that your tools to take care of that stuff.
And it's like, find whatever it is, the gym, a business, you're hanging out with your friends, something that's actually constructive and like makes you feel good at the end of it, and for me, it's the gym. So I'm in there 5
I would
days
encourage, any of those things. Like last year, I think we did during the month of May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May, anyways, and we did 30 days of just kind of things that help mentally, and obviously like exercise and getting outside, just going on a 2-minute walk or whatever, right? Reconnecting with a friend or doing something that you've never done before. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money or anything like that. It could be anything, you know what I mean? But and I would encourage people, if they're in the Indianapolis area, man, I mean, we do monthly meetings and we have great people. We have a great community, man, and we're not going to put any pressure on anybody. Right, we're not going to pressure somebody to, you got to tell a story, you got to do this or you got to do that, man. Just come and hang out. Like, just sit and enjoy us, man. Erik's always bringing in good food. One of these days, Clark, I'm going to do smash burgers. Smash burgers are coming.
But we do talk about that.
We do.
I think literally every single podcast we talk about making a decision.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's your part. You made a decision.
Yeah.
At one point in time, you made a decision. It has to be better.
Yeah.
You might not have known how.
No.
But you made that decision.
I mean, you made a decision to come on this show. Right?
And that's all that we are asking.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to come and tell us your entire life story when you come. And if you want to, that's cool. We'd love to hear it. We'll sit down and talk about it. But, I coming on to this show, we've met with Doug a few times. We didn't know his full story.
Yeah.
We're learning it now, and we'll learn more as we go. But, just come and hang out.
Yeah.
Or if you're not in the Indianapolis area and you're not around here, or if you've got other sources, go hang out.
That's right.
Get out of isolation.
Yeah.
That's the worst, man.
I mean, they can reach out to us, man. We're always available. You can reach out to us either through our Facebook page, or you can reach out to us via, an email, or if you want to reach out to us, you can call us. All of our contact information's out there, man. I mean, we'll take a phone call.
That's right.
Well, I see, even on your own personal Facebook pages, how people respond to, just messages and, things that you're sending. And it is a powerful thing that you're building here. And,
Thanks for
really for men especially to be able to have resource and, that community where they feel safe enough to share. I mean, it's like, I'm sure people get an image of like a AA meeting or something where it's like people sitting around in a circle and they're like, oh, are you gonna share today? And people are like, no, I don't feel like sharing.
And that's a good environment. We're not I know where you're going with this. I mean, it's a good environment, man.
Absolutely.
If you need it. Absolutely
Not knocking that at all. But what you guys are doing is something that is I think, in my opinion, more open and just more inviting.
Well, I can tell you this much, and Erik will attest to this, and so will Clark. I mean, and everybody else here in the studio that's helping us out, Dustin, Mike, and the rest of the team. But man, I can tell you this much: when we have had meetings in the past where, again, no pressure, and somebody does say, "Hey, can I share a little bit?" Dude, we get smoked. Just
love it.
It's just one of those things, man, that just makes you be quiet. You just are humbled. You're just like, man.
And it's the story, but what it is to watch that dude.
Yeah.
Just like the body language changes.
Yeah.
You can see some confidence start to rear its head a little bit. And it's just beautiful to watch, because I think and we've talked about this before, one of the gifts that we've been given with our story and the things that we've been through is we can see the hope on the other side for that dude.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you're going to walk through some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But if you can maintain what you're doing right now, we can see it.
Yeah.
We know where it's going.
Absolutely.
And it's cool. So along with that, we want to talk about Greatest of All Tees, and where do you see that in 3 to 5 years?
Like a Nike.
Nice. Do it.
I want to be a household brand name.
Yeah.
I saw when I was coming up, Under Armour, saw how they, just really, came up out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, man.
I see us being something like that.
Well,
awesome.
we're grateful to partner with you, man. Like you mentioned a little bit earlier, we'll have some shirts on our merch page, and it's a partnership with you, and we're grateful.
Well, and
for
if that's the case, I'm going to be getting some stock.
Yeah, man. I'm down for that too. Clark, you in on that? I think everybody in the room's in on that, man. But yeah, I love it, man, because I mean, awesome. it's passion, and you see a vision, right? And I think what's cool is, Doug, is that like, at least I don't get this feel from you, man. It's not like I got to fast track this sucker. Like it's got to be done like tomorrow. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge component of where you're going in the future, right? And
spent over a year just doing research on licensing and all of the things that could possibly jam us up in the future.
I can't wait to see the first Brandomism shirt.
Lou, I don't know about that, Clark. I was thinking of some other one.
He wouldn't be able to wear that around kids.
It might be an over 21 shirt only. You know what I mean? But that's all right. We can do that.
Doug might get sued on that.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
That was a custom one.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, Doug, we're gonna plug it. So where can folks go find if they want to go to the website? Where they go find it?
The Greatest of All Tees. It's Greatest of All and then TS.
Okay.
.com.
Right on.
At Greatest of All Tees on all the social platforms.
It's a cool site, man. Go check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
I love the design. I love everything about it, man.
A lot of cool stuff.
What's crazy about it is, we started off with the list of names, sports guys, but a lot of people are asking for the actual branded stuff, which usually doesn't really happen with the company, especially like this early in the game. So we're like, man, there's a lot of people that are asking just for like the logo and branded stuff. So
yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, I know on our shirt we got our stuff on the front, and then we've got the patch, and then goat on the other side.
Yeah, the brand. Yeah,
we're co-branding that bad boy.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you part of Building a Refuge Band. You're gonna be getting an honorary band shirt here in a little bit. Eric can demo that. He's got a band shirt, and it's pretty exciting, man. I think we're probably up to like 30, 35 band shirts now.
Yeah,
so
keep them coming.
Yeah, we're just gonna. I just got to get everybody's sizes right, man, when I order these things, because I know Mike over here. I think I got him a little one that might be a little blousy.
And spelling is important as well.
Yeah, spelling works.
Clark, you will be forever known as Clark A, man. That was
screwed up and put an E on the end of it.
That was official, man. You know what I mean? So,
but we're gonna have to find. Hopefully, the shirt's coming tall.
Oh yeah, we got you. We'll make sure we get it right for sure. So well, Doug, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. This has been a lot of fun. You're going to be a second-time guest here at some point in time down the road, man. For everybody listening, we're trying to figure out how we can do a roundtable and get people kind of in and out, but we want you a part of it. And for those of you listening, man, I mean, come out and check out our monthly meetings. We're here in Indianapolis at Harley-Davidson of Fishers, or Harley-Davidson of Indianapolis Fishers. I don't want to get that. I want to get that wrong, because Anders and Adam might come over and kick my ass, and I don't want a bunch of Harley dudes on me, man.
Yeah,
that
get it right.
Would not be right. But yeah, come check us out. Get us on our social sites. Check our YouTube channel out. It's really cool. Leave us some comments, and if you're so inclined and feel the heart to donate, we really would appreciate that. You can go to PayPal or Venmo. You can reach out to us directly as well. We accept all forms, so we don't say no. But I will say this. Thank you to everybody that has donated to us so far. We've been very, very blessed. Sometimes I take a step back because, I don't know how it happens, but it happens. And we're very, very grateful for that, because it does really go back to people. I mean, we've had some great opportunities even here in the last 30 days to give back to some organizations. And that is... Man, like you mentioned earlier, dude, that's just such a great feeling, and so we're very blessed. But thank you so much for coming in, Doug. We really appreciate it, man.
I love it, man. You guys are making a difference, and any way that I can support you all, doing and giving, something to everybody else, I'm all about.
Well, you are, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, thanks a lot for coming in, buddy.
Cool.
Yep.
Out. Clear.
To hold on to. It is well within my soul. Jesus built me a refuge, someplace I can run to, a place we now call home.